Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Do you know why I'm playing Alanis Morissette?
She made an appearance. Did I kiss her? Is that, I mean,
You
I'm not
kissed her.
making this about me. This is about Alanis, not me.
I'm making it about you. You played
Okay.
Spin the Bottle with Alanis Morissette on Sex and the City.
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember that? Is that like not a big deal? To me, that would be a big deal.
It was a big deal. I do remember that, and I don't remember a lot, but I remember that for a variety of reasons. I remember where we shot it. I remember what I was wearing, and most importantly, and least surprising, it was just a huge deal that she agreed to do the show.
Right.
And I think we shot over perhaps 2 nights or one very long day into a night. And I do recall kissing her. It was very pleasant.
It was pleasant.
It was. I don't recall it being uncomfortable. I don't recall feeling embarrassed or self-conscious. She's lovely. She was, all in. And I don't know. It was I have no feelings other than sort of easy, buoyant.
When you read the script where your character is going to have a lesbian sex scene, a kiss, it was an innocent thing. People are playing Spin the Bottle.
Yes.
And and you're sitting there and you're very surprised to learn that Alanis Morissette, who's playing a character,
Yes.
is going to be, she spins the bottle and she's excited to kiss you. And you're hesitant because you've never done this before.
Is that the story, or is that what you assume? Okay.
Maybe I have too much backstory. I liked it. No, but it was good. And she comes over to kiss you, and you're uncomfortable in the scene.
Is that right?
And you get up and you walk away. Listen, I study these things.
I don't think I've
Anytime there's
ever
a
seen
lesbian
it.
scene, you really is that true? You've never seen it?
It's very possible I never saw it, yeah.
Why do I find that so hard to believe? I cannot believe. I know you've said this before that you rarely will watch something you've been in.
Yeah.
Is it a superstition? Is it you being humble?
It's probably more vain than that. I don't like to look at myself. I don't like to watch my work. And for some, it's hugely helpful to look at your work or look at dailies or learn from it. And in my case, I learned very early on. I think when I did Square Pegs, they invited me to watch dailies, and I had never in my life been invited to watch dailies, which are sort of the previous day's work. Everybody used to gather in a room, the director, the producer, the cinematographer, and just to make sure everything was right and good. And I found it like almost an unbearable hour and a half. And I think it just has never helped me. It's made me pay attention to things that really don't matter and don't really add up to something being worth an audience's time. My grave concern is that it's actually more vanity than
Right.
any kind of taste of humbleness, I just
Do you
don't like
think
it.
you think if you looked at yourself, you'd be critical of your physical appearance?
My fear is that I would wish I had done a scene differently, made a different choice. Physically, I'm less interested in critiquing that because that is what it is. The things that are within my control that I could have done differently, better, smarter, more efficiently, more emotionally impactful, more funny, those things are the things that would keep me up and make me feel ill-equipped to return to the set the next day with any kind of confidence.
When they hand you a script and it says, "Oh, you're going to kiss a girl," let's say that's a good example. Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Do you say to them, "Oh, who is this girl? Who am I kissing an extra?" Or do you become concerned, and do you get nervous? And do you rehearse that with an Alanis Morissette?
So when I read the script, I had no concerns at all. I thought, you're asked to kiss a man and it can mean nothing and can add up to nothing. And now you're in a scene and you're all slightly inebriated or stoned and you're playing Spin the Bottle and it lands on you and somebody assumes that there's an agreement been reached, right? In Spin the Bottle.
Right.
Typically you rehearse a scene and then you get to the kissing and you kind of lean into your opposite person and you kind of make the motions of it for camera so they're understanding in
Oh.
rehearsal. And then I typically don't kiss anybody in rehearsal. And then you just sort of do it and it always feels more real to me. Sometimes there's conversations about the kind of kiss it's going to be, the intensity
Right.
of a kiss. And this was before intimacy, coordinators and that kind of attention paid. But that would be because maybe the director wants it to start this way, and then you move, and then this body part becomes involved. But my guess is with Alanis is that we talked about it, and then we shot it, and we probably shot it 100 different ways and 100 different angles, and I don't know how many close-ups there were and what they were focusing on, hands, mouths, eyes,
Right.
body. I don't have no
Well,
recollection.
it was all real. It was very innocent. But it makes me think in the new season of And Just Like That, I'm up to episode 3 now.
Okay.
And there's a scene where Aiden, your boyfriend in the show, you're having phone sex with him. You two live very far apart. You're having phone sex. And this is not a spoiler. But this is such a weird moment where he's having phone sex with you and he's about to, play with himself when he's talking to you and he licks his hand.
I'm sorry, what?
He takes his tongue and he starts licking his hand and then he plays with his penis. Did you know he did that in that scene? Because you probably filmed it. And have you seen this scene at all?
No, I've not seen that.
Is that really true? You really have not seen it?
I've not seen it, no. I can't comment on that. My lawyer has advised me not to comment.
Really? Is that true?
No, I have no attorney.
No, but I mean, is it true that you're up to, you really have no knowledge of it? This is a crazy scene.
I haven't seen most of Sex and the City ever.
Right.
And I haven't seen And Just Like That. Every now and then Michael Patrick will say to me, please watch episode,
Right.
So I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing about that.
It's crazy because as a man, I was like, why is Aiden licking his hand? I have been known to do this. Not lick my hand. I've been known to masturbate. I don't lick my hand. I was really shocked. And I felt your character would have been insulted because like, what are you licking your hand, dude? It's gross.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal to me.
We should probably reach out to Corbett, and he's pretty open about these kinds of choices.
Right.
No one, and what's curious, no one mentioned it to me. He shot that much later than I shot my coverage because I think is he in a truck?
Yes, he's in the truck, he
Right.
unzips his pants, and then he licks his hand, and he starts playing with himself.
You've got to stop saying that. You've got to stop saying that.
Why? You listen, you've been around the block. You know what's happening.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
What does that mean?
You're not an
You've
innocent.
been around the block.
Are you uncomfortable talking about men's masturbation?
I don't even recall that I've ever discussed it in my entire life.
Wow. You are a goody two-shoes, which is hot.
No, I think I'm more, I don't know if I'm good at
Isn't this funny? Because you think about the character, Carrie Bradshaw,
Yes.
right? She's so open that you would be very loose about this stuff. But yet, I sense that you're very uncomfortable talking publicly about sex.
Yeah, I think it's, one of the many ways in which, in fact, I'm very, very different than Carrie Bradshaw. I always say, I know we look alike and, we share like a skeleton, but there are countless ways in which I'm really different. I mean, that we share some similarities. We're aligned on a few important things, but I never have been someone that's discussed intimacy with my closest friends. I just don't, and I'm not against it. And I think it's wonderful that people who need to and want to can have those conversations. And I'm very present for friends who want to discuss that, but I typically don't contribute. And I'm not withholding. It's not as if my friends feel, well, wait a minute, I just bared myself, gutted myself, and you're silent. I don't think they feel any less heard or counseled. Like when friendships do that for one another, I just, for some reason, and I'm not religious, I wasn't, I come from a really progressive home. And so I don't know why I am disinclined.
When you turn on like a talk show
Mm-hmm.
and you see a young actress talking pretty freely about their sex life and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
are you just sitting there going, this is amazing. I could never do this. Do you admire it or do you sit there and go, oof, you're gonna feel horrible doing this because in 10 years you're gonna watch it back and you're gonna go, I should have kept my mouth shut. What is your feeling on that?
I would assume that my feelings would be that I'm glad the person feels comfortable talking about this part of her life or their life or his life. And I have no judgment about it at all. It's the same thing with nude scenes. I never wanted to do them. And as long as the director with whom I was working didn't feel they were being cheated by me not, I was happy to maintain that position. But for those who felt comfortable, it was never, my feelings were never like, how could you? You'll regret this. It was always felt like it was the most democratic part of the decision making on a set was who feels comfortable doing what. And those who don't are free to tell the story in a different way.
Did you ever turn down a movie because the director said, look, I'm not doing this to be salacious, but I would want you to be nude in the movie for a love scene or whatever. Oh, so you really need to do this. Did you ever say, you know what, I'm going to pass and then go, oh shit, this movie was huge?
Don't think so. Anytime I've had those conversations, we've reached a decision that felt that both parties were getting what they needed.
Right.
when it's been written in, and I've had conversations with directors and or writers that were part of that conversation. I never felt as if they were being cheated in some ways, so I don't recall, but that's not that I didn't. I just don't at the moment recall.
Right.
I'll text you later.
You never had that
It comes-
moment where you get called into the director's room or the producer's room and they go, "Listen, honey, you know,
I
I
did.
need you." Oh, you did?
I have had that situation happen on a set post a discussion about no nudity being required to do the scene, and it became pretty acrimonious and really uncomfortable for me, so much so that I called my agent and said, I thought we had been clear and we'd had this conversation, and now they're telling me that I have to be nude tomorrow. And they're making a lot of jokes about it on the set. Sarah Jessica's going to be nude tomorrow. Sarah Jessica's going to be in the bed nude.
But even if you were considering it, would make it 50 times worse because now it's becoming a whole thing.
Correct. And it was all men on the set.
Right.
So there was all of a sudden a kind of a culture, and that felt really, I didn't care for it. And I called my agent, and I will say my agent said to me, I'm going to FedEx you an airline ticket, which in the old days you had to do. And it was, like 3 layers with like red in between that like made 9
Yeah.
copies. And he
Right.
FedExed me an airline ticket on US Air and called the producers and called the studio and said, this conversation will stop. And if not, she's flying home in the morning. So
Wow.
don't ask her again. And they didn't.
And did the movie suffer for that reason? I mean, the fact
Absolutely
that,
not.
right.
It
In
was,
other words,
it was a massive success.
when I was watching the new season of the show, they talk about your clothing in the show.
Hmm.
And they talk about the outfits. And I've read about this, that the reason it takes so long to shoot the season of your show is that the outfits, it's almost like a job in itself.
Yeah.
And I read that like you have to be fitted sometimes up to 5 hours a day for an outfit and things. And I'm like, why does it take them so long to put you in these outfits and measure and what's going on there? Because I know it's a big part of the show. I love it. When you come out in these outfits, now I don't know. More and more is pointing to the fact that maybe I'm not heterosexual. But I love watching your show and seeing you in these outfits. Like, I don't have that with Charlotte. I don't have that with the other characters. I don't care what they wear. They can wear whatever they want. But you, for some reason, I like to see what you're dressed up in.
Thank you. That's so nice.
What's going on there?
Okay,
with
I
that?
will explain. Sometimes there could be as many as 20 to 30 changes per episode. So
Right.
what happens is I carve out time within a shooting schedule. Sometimes it's on my lunch break, and I know that I'm not in the next scene, so I can do 40 minutes, then I can do an hour and a half. Then we'll wrap at 11 at night, and I'll run to the wardrobe department. Either I'll be on the soundstage, so I can run upstairs, and I'll fit for 2.5 hours, depending upon my turnaround. Then they'll
Why
need 1
two
more
and a half
hours.
hours? But
So
why two
I'll
and a
explain, because if there's 30 changes per episode,
Oh.
everything has to be pulled. I have to try everything on. And we're creating. It's not like outfits are set. There's some basic blueprint, but sometimes you put something on and you're thinking, oh, you know what? Actually, Seema's wearing this and Charlotte's wearing that, or we thought that was going to look good, but actually those 2 whites are very different and they're not being friendly to each other. And we're going to have to take this apart because it's a vintage piece, or the designer says we can borrow this, but we have to find a way of tailoring it that we can release it. So we have to be really thoughtful about the way in which we're going to take it in or up. And it takes a lot of time. And even though they have my body form, and we have one of the
Right.
most extraordinary tailors in my life is a woman called Adrienne, who is sincerely magical. It still takes time, because then you have to think about jewelry, bags, shoes, belts, hats, coats, gloves, galoshes, umbrella, backpack, briefcase. All of it is part and piece, and it can't be it can't be in conflict. So it sounds rather simple to just pull from a bunch of racks and trays, but if you care and you're being thoughtful and you're trying to tell a story from episode 1 to episode 12, and you've got your lane and all this stuff. Say we're working toward creating a complete Victorian silhouette by episode 10. When do you start changing the silhouette? What are those pieces? Where are they coming from? How are they helping Michael Patrick tell his story? What is it going to be? Okay, you're in this scene, you're running down the street to catch a cab. Can you pick up those 3 layers? Can you switch a shoe? Can you buckle a shoe while you're walking? Because that's written into the script. Is this the shoe you're going to buckle? You have to walk in the door. You have to kick off a shoe. You have to put it back on. So that means it can't be a shoe with this buckle. It's that
Wow.
level of detail.
But you want to know what? I get it. Because I do think it's not the glue of the show, but a huge part of the show is you walking around in these outfits and you wear them well and you have a movement. It's true. Like a dancer, you have this body and this way of moving in these outfits that becomes a very big part of the show.
Well,
So,
that's also, I want to say, Molly Rogers and Danny Santiago. Molly was with us from the first day of Sex and the City. She worked with Pat Field forever. And they are just exceptionally good at knowing what I can and can't do in shoes, boots, dresses, skirts, tutus, crinolines, corsets. And everybody is working together to make you believe that I'm good at that. Like we're all conspiring to convince you that I can be gazelle-like no matter what I'm wearing.
right.
And it's not always effortless. Sometimes it takes a huge amount of thought and preparation. You know, I like to get to a space beforehand and work with Michael Patrick, our director, and say, okay, and the cameraman and the DP, and say, okay, you want me to come in and the camera's going to be there, and I know I have to do this, and I have this bag, and we kind of want to share this bag because it's a little Easter egg for somebody. So we're going to make sure that I'm going to take it off over my head and I'm going to toss it. Is the camera going to go there? Because when you come back to me, I know Michael Patrick wants these boots to be in. So everybody's working together to create the ballet that you've so kindly
Yeah.
referred it
You know what?
as.
But I never realized how much work went into that. And it shows me that you guys are incredibly aware of this part of the show, that you know people love it. I assume people write you all the time. But in your personal life, like, do you understand like buying a Birkin bag? And some of these bags can be 30, 50 grand.
Yeah, I don't.
And I say to my wife all the time, what is it? I mean, I look at the bag. I don't see anything that great that they could spend. I mean, $50,000 on a thing to hold your shit.
I can't imagine Beth wants to. I don't see her as somebody who's like purchasing a lot of that either.
Well,
I
she's
don't.
very different. No, you don't in
I
your
don't.
personal life.
Mm-mm,
But
mm-mm.
the Birkin bag on the show, that's
I
something you
think
would show off.
I feel like Samantha carried or talked about wanting one. This was, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, I like that you have said that you now see how important it is because
Yep.
I think, the goal of anything, and I think any actor or any executive producer would tell you that, you want it to all look seamless and you want it to appear as if none of it took effort and none of it was hard and all of it does. And I think our show, and I don't think this is unique, but this is just our experiences, we're incredibly vigilant about every single solitary detail,
Yeah.
every tableau, every frame. Michael Patrick and I will talk about every single thing in the background of a shot. Like, why is that there? Move the phone there. That book, I'll work with the on-set deck people and say, like, we had these books in 2 episodes ago, so she wouldn't have been reading them anymore. Or maybe it's opened and it's dog-eared.
Really?
Yeah, like
What about
all of it matters.
What about the decision? I think it's in episode 2 or 3. You and Seema are sitting on a bed talking. You're having an intimate conversation, and you're eating Kentucky Fried Chicken. I thought that was really that's something you guys really worked through, right?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, I mean,
Really, yes, very specifically.
Because it's sort of gross watching people eat and getting all that grease and everything. Sometimes you'll do it to maybe just to piss people off or to make them kind of get a little disgusted.
No, so I think that if I recall, so Seema says she'll come with me to Virginia,
Right.
and she says I want to go because I want great Southern food and I want fried chicken, and she's denied it. Every restaurant she goes to has turned into a healthier look at Southern cuisine, and she's enraged. So we get Kentucky Fried Chicken, as I do. We purchase it as a sort of this is your reward for being such a good friend and for being denied. And so that was written in the script, and we're just sitting there talking, eating a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Now, I was extremely excited about that because when I was a little girl, we didn't ever eat out. That was like beyond something that we could ever imagine. But every now and then, my dad would bring home a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it was such a big freaking deal.
Me too.
I mean, it was like you'd won the lottery.
I remember as a little boy, my father took me to a place in Freeport, Long Island called V-Brox. and there was no such thing as Kentucky Fried Chicken. They used to sell these individual diners, the recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Wow.
And we would go because my father loved it so much. And then he goes, I'm going to buy the stock. They're going public. And he didn't buy it because my mother goes, who buys stock in chicken? And he did. And the rest of my life, I heard him go, I would have been a billionaire if they had only sold me these. If I bought the stock, which your mother said not to buy chicken. So it's so true. When I see Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's such a part of the fabric of our lives.
Yeah, it really
It's a great
deal.
detail.
And I was very excited and, really aggressive about eating a lot, which I always do in scenes anyway, because there's a big part of me too. Cynthia's like this. We were always the ones eating. And then the prop department would say to us, like, they'd be like, we're going to break for lunch in all those coffee shop scenes. It didn't matter if it was 2 p.m, 2 a.m, 11 at night. And they'd take our plates away. We're like, no, we're going to finish this. But anyway, I was eating that chicken, really excited, and I really indulged. Like, I was eating a lot. Plus, which I just think it's good. Like, if you're going to have food on a set and in a scene, please eat it. Don't have an actor pushing food around a plate and not eating it. Eat the food. And also
but
just
wait, from an acting standpoint, isn't that dangerous?
No.
Because when you go to edit the takes, you could be in mid-chew and then the take can't be used. So maybe that's why.
Being mid-chew is good. It's
Oh.
good. You just have to match it every single time. That's where it gets complicated and
Tricky.
becomes your enemy. But I work really hard on continuity so that I can always eat or have a pen in my hand or be twirling a rubber band or be doing something that human beings do, because it also takes the onus off the lines. The minute that you're doing a human activity, you're just talking like a person. So
Right.
that bucket arrived. We were really excited. It was the end of a really long day. Sarita and I had been working together all day long, and that was shot in a hotel in Midtown New York City, and they did such a good job. And I ate and ate and ate and ate, and I was like, I'm the envy of everybody. And I hope there's enough left for the crew. Everybody, there's chicken at the end of the night. And I will confess that I felt really sick. Like, I thought I'm like a kind of like a garbage can. Like, I can eat anything. I don't get sick. I'm not delicate. I will have street food and cart food, and I'll go to countries all over the world and just eat off the street because I really like it. And that night I was like, something's changing. I don't know that I'm able to do it anymore. But that's why we did it. That was the point of the story, and I did enjoy it until about 11:30 or 12 at night.
I even said to my wife during that scene, we were watching it, I said, I guarantee you, these two women, they have to watch their figures. They're spitting out that chicken. They're not eating that for you. You guys swallowed the chicken. You ate it.
100%.
100%.
100%.
Man, how much pressure, though, is on you because of these clothes and your look? Your look is very important. And I'm sure staying in shape is really important. And you are in great shape. You must be neurotic about. What do you mean, no? No what? No, you're not what? You're not neurotic about food?
No, I'm not vigilant. I'm not very disciplined. But I will
Have you
say,
eaten today? Have you eaten anything
the
today?
only reason I haven't eaten is that we were up at 4, and I had coffee. I have 1 cup of coffee a day, not because I'm healthy. It's just that's all I can take because I'm like a kind of like a whippet. I'll be like,
Right.
but I eat. I just haven't yet because it was just too early and it was too loud. I didn't want to wake people up in the house making breakfast, and so I'll eat when we're finished. And I'll eat. Yesterday my husband was cooking onions, so we had onions and cheese and scrambled eggs, and I had tons of Chinese food last night. My point was,
Chinese food you had last night.
yes,
Tons, you say.
yeah.
So how are you staying so thin? Is it just a metabolism thing? What is going on here? No Ozempic.
I don't know. Oh no, not. I mean, not yet. I'm not saying I wouldn't reach for the pen or the jab. What do they call it in London? I think, or in Ireland, they call it the
shot?
jab.
Oh, the jab.
The pen.
I hate that Ozempic so much, Sarah.
Why do you hate it?
Because it's not fair. Look, I work really hard.
I know you do.
I work really hard.
You're
I mean,
the opposite of me. You really pay attention. You're disciplined. You're vigilant. You care. You're the opposite. I know you work hard, but keep going and tell me.
Well,
further.
I still look like shit
That's
because
not
when I
true.
Sarah, when I take my clothes off, I mean, I've got a belly and pardon the word tits. I'm telling you, it's a mess. You would be repulsed.
No, stop it.
No, you would
wouldn't. I
crawl
was-
right away out of that
Stop
room where I
it.
was nude. But I'm telling you,
I
I
just
don't
want
do
to go
nude
back to
scenes
one
either.
thing and just said, pardon me, I'm going to use the word tits. Like,
Yeah, well, you're a lady. You're very
Okay,
uptight about talking about those things. I don't want to offend you.
so you feel
But
as if Ozempic is kind of cheating the system, or all
yes,
those years spent.
Sarah, the one thing I had was that I was thin. And there was so many people who were fat. I was so happy about it. You know what I mean? At least I could walk in the room and be thin. Now everywhere, and you've seen it, and I know you probably don't talk about it. Everyone is thin now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And that's amazing. It's not fair.
It really is something. My husband and I it's
I'm
mystifying
fascinated.
because
Yeah.
you don't see people for a couple months sometimes, and you have to be careful about not doing like a big response. And a lot of people don't want to talk about why they've lost weight, nor do they
Right.
have to. They don't owe me or anybody else an explanation. I was thinking about this the other day because I saw on television, I think I saw a politician who, has, I think, a long history of having weight issues. And I was
Right.
curious why that person hadn't chosen to use. But then I thought, well, this is what's really interesting about it is you don't have to. And just because it now is available doesn't mean that everybody's going to reach for it.
Some people are on it, and they eat right through it. Thank God. I'm telling you, I know who you're talking about. I had the same thought. I know exactly what politician you're talking about. And I happen to know they can't stop eating. And I say, thank you, because at least with this guy, I'm
yes.
thin. You know what I mean? I've got something. It's just like if they invent a cure for baldness, I'm screwed. I mean, I've got the hair and I've got thin. Don't take that from me. Don't give that to everyone. That's all I have.
Such an interesting perspective on science and medicine. It's like, wait, I've got two things. Now you're coming after my second thing?
Yeah. I mean, I've run out of things. My father used to lecture me. He'd go, well, these dummies all think they could take a pill to lose weight. That day's never coming. I go, great. Okay. Right again, genius.
No, you're like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, here it is.
Yes.
I was thinking about you and your fame. You are very recognizable. And I know you're a private person, and you've done a good job of keeping your private life kind of private, as much as you can.
Yeah.
But what happens when you walk into a restaurant in real life? Let's say you and Matthew go out to a restaurant.
Dim Sum Chelsea, for instance. Dim Sum
Okay, so
Chelsea.
you went out to a Chinese restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what it's like for you when you walk into a restaurant. Is it chaos?
I'll see people look at me and I understand what that means. But the minute you sit down, I'm usually with a group of friends that I want to be with, and it sort of stops. It sort of ends. But it's not that
You're not
I am
uncomfortable.
aware of it. It doesn't make me uncomfortable. People are generally speaking nice, hospitable. If they come up to the table, it's because they usually want to say something nice and meaningful
Right.
to them. But I am aware of being in a restaurant and people having feelings about that.
Right.
But it doesn't really dictate how I live because I want to be out in the world. I love the fact that I live in a city and I have to be out in the world. I have to leave my house, walk down the street, find a cab, take the train.
You are on a train?
Oh, yeah.
You've got the dough, Raymi, to have a driver, though. I mean, why go on the train?
I love the subway.
Dudes don't get weird with you down in the
No,
subway?
mm-mm. I mean, I
What?
stand much further back than I used to. I'm much more aware. Like now that I have headphones, I'll stand further back because I know I'm being distracted. I used to be much more aware on a subway because none of us had phones. We read a newspaper or a book. But
I can't believe
no, I love the
this.
train. It's still
And,
the best and fastest way to get around
What
New York
about when
City.
weirdos, like you're trapped in that car and the weirdo?
I feel like
Really?
I've seen it all. I mean, it doesn't mean that something wouldn't scare me or make me feel nervous. And, my kids, everybody in my house knows the train. Everybody knows efficiency. So I feel like we've all learned how to be citizens underground and when to make good choices. I don't
Wow.
want my kids taking the subway really late.
The best part of getting famous for me, I never had to take the subway again. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted out of it. I didn't even care. I just didn't want to be down in that subway.
I guess I always
That's it.
liked it. But I think,
Wow.
here's the thing too. You were born and raised, I know you were raised in Long Island, but the city was here for you. And
Yes.
I think when you arrive in a city, having tiny bits of exposure to something. This might be the case for anything that you think about or dream about. I came to this city as a little girl and saw things and like had images in my head. And so I threw myself at it because it wasn't mine. And the only way for me to feel like a local was to live it. Even as a little girl,
Right.
I knew that. I had to do what I saw everybody else doing. A yellow cab. That's why it's been so hard for me to move on to car apps because I still have this thing about yellow cabs. I
You love it.
still feel so sentimental about yellow cabs and also just the way they look on our streets. And when I first came to New York, they dominated the streets and the avenues. I mean, if you looked at a hotel window, or an office building or anywhere, 7th Avenue South was just yellow. It was just
Right.
yellow. And it was checker cabs and sedans, and it was before minivans and sliding doors and whatever. They were beautiful automobiles, and every driver knew the streets, and they all had accents, and it was like a really, truly New York experience. And so I think for me, the subway is I didn't want to run from it. I've never wanted to run from the subway because I always felt like, oh, this was given to me. I earned this. I had to
Right.
fight to be a New Yorker. I don't know how many years it takes before you're called a New Yorker. So what do I have to do? Like I have to know the bus routes. I have to know the crosstown buses. So I think that's why I still feel such devoted or loyal to our public transportation.
I was joking earlier this morning about you, and I said, Sarah Jessica Parker must really laugh at these idiots who say it's hard to be in show business. I said at 13, she was already on Broadway and then starring in Annie at 14.
Mm.
And I go, and then, I was fantasized that you left the other child actors because they go like, yeah, I was a child actor. But then when I became an adult, I couldn't get famous. Like I was typecast. I was this, I was that. You did it effortlessly. You were 13 years old. You were in Annie. You went on all these shows. You did movies. Sex and the City got huge. It's been magical, really.
The opportunity to have worked in the theater straight through saved me from the kind of scrutiny and opinion that a lot of child stars, I think, suffer. And it's debilitating, and it's really you have to have an incredible constitution and great people around you to make you feel that you're worthwhile no matter what happens to you, whether you become an engineer or a plumber or a janitor or librarian or you remain as a working actor. The other thing I will say is that when you and I were young and we were wanting to have careers and you wanted to be in entertainment and radio and talk to people and, kind of have a salon and like command attention,
Right.
I don't know that you necessarily thought about being a star. We didn't talk
Never.
about stars when I was growing up. There were movie stars, but that was like an alternate universe of people that were so removed from what I was pursuing. I just wanted to be a working actor, and I could not mean that more genuinely. You wanted to be on the air. What did it
Right.
mean? Did it mean you had to start working in the office? Did you have to do this? Did you have to do that? You didn't care what it took. I never thought about being rich. I never thought about
Right.
being famous, and I never thought about being a star. I just wanted to be like the other actors that I was in the play with, who were, as we used to say, journeymen. They'd go from play to play. They'd do a small role in a movie, then they'd do a TV series. They got 2 episodes on a TV series shooting in LA, which is mostly where things shot. So all of that stuff that happens now and the way we're constantly looking at people and kind of characterizing who they are and what they mean and where they stand in culture, that didn't exist for you and me.
You're right.
We were just, we had our heads down. We were willing to work incredibly hard. We didn't care how many hours we were asked to be at the broadcast station or whatever it was,
Yeah.
or
No.
me at the theater. Do you want me there at 7 a.m. and you're going to pay me $45? Okay, fine. I'll be the first there and I'll be the last to leave. Do you want me to help you iron the costumes? I'll do that. What does it take for me to stay in this theater?
That's a
What-
really good point. If you get in to be a star, you'll never be a star.
It's just a
If you get-
very hard destination point. It's just bound to be painful. And I know it looks like there's a million stars because of social media. I know it looks as if there's like, just buckets of success because we see all these images of people with money. And I think influencers are now kind of bundled into all of that. I'm not taking anything away from anyone having success, but that is not the same as creating a career that lasts until you're in your 80s and 90s. I mean, look at the great actors, look at the great broadcasters that just worked and worked and worked and worked. Some names we know, some names we don't. You might know everybody in the broadcasting world that worked until they were in their 80s. People that just read the news or that read the news in Omaha and had the
Right.
best careers and best lives. And, you know, I just think it's very hard for people to reevaluate and kind of reset what success means because the world is
Yeah.
telling them something different, and it's very hard to aim to be a star. I think it's just it's not always going to be a productive path, but to want to be good and work hard and work with great people and learn, that to me is a much more fruitful approach, and it's going to give you, I think, a much richer life.
I think that's a great message. If
Yeah.
my fantasy was I could make $250 a week and be an announcer
Yeah.
and talk into a microphone and people would
Yeah.
hear me and I'd be treated with maybe some respect by other announcers. I was
Yeah.
part of a family of announcers.
Yeah.
I was so excited. You're so right. Who would ever predict you? You don't even think you could even buy a house. You
No.
know, nothing.
You just want to pay your rent. If someone needs your help in your family, you'd like to know you could be able to say yes. You
Right.
know how much pizza a slice costs. You know how much the Subway costs. And to be an announcer is like, it's like that's the golden ticket. Like,
Yeah.
but then because you cared and you worked hard, all these other things happened because people were like, what's that kid doing? Who is he?
Yeah. And
Why
it's
is
a
he still
shock.
here? Why is he hanging
Right.
around? And it felt good. Like, do you look back at those days and think, don't you look back at them and think, how wonderful that I had $5 that day? I had $5 that day. And I remember the guy that greeted me when I walked in the door, and he used to be there. And I'd look at these other guys, and they'd already been in this building for 10 years, and look at the way they walked in the door. And someday, maybe, am I going to walk in the door, and that guy will say to me, "Hey, Howard, how you doing? Because you've been here for 10 years, and now
Right.
you're somebody's boss." There was so much to dream about that just was kind of a different approach to a dream.
I read that like when you were 13, you were starring, you were an Annie, 13, 14. You're young. You were one of these people that would go to Studio 54. And I
Yeah.
remember I mean, it was a scene. Studio 54, you can't really explain it. I mean, people were high as a fucking kite.
Yeah.
But it was a scene. It was everything. It was Andy Warhol. It was everyone famous. It was,
Yeah.
the Kennedys would be there. You didn't know who the hell you'd see. I remember going a few times because I was, the program director of a radio station. They let you go. What was that like as a kid and to be really living in an adult world and see adults partying?
There was a security man at the doorman at the Alvin Theater, which is, I think, now called the Neil Simon Theater. And
Yeah.
our theater was on 52nd between Broadway and 8th. Studio 54 was just 2 blocks north on 54th between Broadway and 8th. And this incredibly elegant man named Big George was the bouncer and security at Studio 54, but he also covered us at the Alvin. And so when we came out after the show and signed autographs, Big George was always there, and he was extremely handsome. He was big, shocking, and
Right.
he had a gold chain with a teeny little comb hanging off it that he would comb his mustache. And he said, "Hey, why don't you guys come up to 54?" We said, "Okay." There was no parent. I mean, there was no child labor
Wow.
laws. And I got home I was living on Roosevelt Island, so I would take the N and the R home at night. My brother was doing a show on Broadway. We would meet halfway in between our theaters and jump on the subway to the tram, which I think stopped running at 12. And so we went over to Studio 54. Big George let us in. We didn't go in the front. I think we went in one of the back doors or maybe a side door. And I do remember very specifically, they had these massive kind of installations that were hung from the ceiling. They were like a cup and a moon and a star and a spoon. And I guess now they were all symbols for cocaine. And I remember people dancing, and there were like circular curtains, and inside people be dancing. And I do remember, we were just on the ground. Like, we always played jacks backstage. You know jacks?
Yeah, sure. The game.
We
Yeah.
we brought jacks with us and sat on the floor at Studio 54 while people were dancing. Someone stepped on my Achilles with their stiletto heel while they were dancing. People were definitely really, really wasted.
Yeah, but would guys hit on you and stuff?
No, we were little and uninteresting and not appealing. Like, I was 13, and no, nobody hit on us. I think
no
we
one
were
offered you
source of
drugs or-
amusement. No.
No.
I was never I've never been offered drugs my entire life until I was second season of Sex and the City, somebody offered me drugs. Never in my life have I been offered drugs.
You don't do any drugs?
Mm-mm.
Never did?
Never tried them.
Never tried pot?
Yeah, I tried pot once, and Kenny G was playing on Johnny Carson,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like if I tried like twice, I don't know like how many times I consumed or inhaled, and Kenny G came out and played the saxophone, and I was completely mystified. I was like, "What is that appendage?" Like
Coming out of his mouth.
his mouth. And I found it so scary. I was like, why is it all one thing? Like he seemed like one
Wow.
thing, like these things and this.
That must have been some good weed.
And then I never did it again. I was like, well, that's enough. I understand that I was not thinking rationally. That's a musician, for God's sake. And that is his instrument. I believe it's a wind instrument. And anyway, yeah, that's the only time. I never really.
All the years in show business, how did you avoid doing drugs at all?
I think that after Square Pegs, there was so much chatter about there were drugs on that set, which I also never saw. I think I was like very clear about not wanting to be around it because I felt like it was so dangerous and damaging, and people had been really hurt by those rumors and allegations, and I didn't feel as if they were fair or characterized that experience. So I felt very scared of them. I was scared of what they could do. Yeah. And then I think also watching people that you love and care about struggle with it and see how it dominated lives, and for the most part was really bad. It just scared me.
Why do I think that? Were you friends with Belushi at all? Or
no.
Why do I think you might have been?
But
I don't know why.
Curiously, Ann Beats, who wrote and directed and created Square Pegs, was one of the original writers on SNL. And we were about to shoot the pilot, and she was always best friends with Judy Belushi, John's wife.
Right.
And he passed away when we were about to start shooting the pilot of of Square Pegs, and so we had to postpone it for her to be at his funeral. That's still my only connection, is just through Ann Beats. But I didn't know him, but I loved him.
Why did you only host Saturday Night Live once? I believe it was once.
Yeah.
Was it a bad experience for you? Is it something you didn't like?
No, I mean, it wasn't a bad experience. I would say that it's historically known as like not like the happiest time at that show. I can't remember if Lauren had just come back. You know, there was that period, I think New York Magazine might have written about. It was like a period in which it just, I guess people didn't feel like it was really humming.
Right.
But I had a lot of good memories from that experience.
You mean you hosted when it wasn't humming? It was sort
when
of
it
that
wasn't
was weird.
humming, yeah. I don't know how people would describe it, but that was kind of what I gleaned, is that it was the lesser happy time. But I will say it was Adam Sandler and Chris Farley and Norm Macdonald and Janine Garofalo and I think Sarah Silverman maybe. And REM was the musical host. And I really loved working with them. But I don't know. I don't think of it as unhappy or bad. It was just, and I think I've been asked since, and I never was able to do it because of timing. I was either shooting and couldn't get out enough. You know, they require you there for the week. I love that show. I love it. That 50th anniversary, I thought, was one of the most perfect pieces of entertainment I've almost ever seen.
Yeah, you went with your husband.
I did,
and
yes.
Because Matthew's hosted Saturday Night Live a couple of times.
I think he's hosted a couple of times, yeah.
When you're in a relationship so long with someone who is in the business,
yeah.
Well, let's take a theoretical, like you guys go to the Polo Bar or something.
Yeah.
Do you kind of internally gauge to see who has made more of a fuss out of, like, I knew you would laugh, but I do. I mean, I don't even like hanging around with, like, Jimmy Kimmel's a very good friend of mine. And we went to Italy together and stuff.
Really?
And when he would, yeah, like we went for a week, and sometimes we'd be walking around, and like people would come up to him, and I go, "Oh my God, no one is coming up to me. I'm embarrassed in front of my wife." And like, you know, like no one's making a fuss about me. And then all of a sudden some fans would come up, like in Italy. And like, you know, some tourists, and he'd come up, "Hey, Howard, I watch you." And he's ignoring Jimmy. And I'm like, thank God.
No, we
really
don't
mean
keep
this.
Score. We definitely not.
I'm not talking about, I mean, sometimes in the deepest dark of your mind, you never say, you know, thank God more people are making a fuss about me than Matthew. And is it hard for Matthew when you're in the height of something? Listen, Matthew's a big star. He's done a lot.
If anything, I think I feel like if somebody does come up to me, I wonder or worry, depending on the circumstance, like, is this imposing on our time in a way that is an irritant? Like, I'm more sensitive to that than I am to who's being stopped or recognized.
Well, have you ever been like in a situation where, like, okay, you're at this theoretical restaurant and a couple of fans come up and everyone asks for your autograph and then they don't ask for Matthew's? And you're like, oh, fuck, I
I
just
wish
wish
people
they'd
asked
ask.
for autographs, Howard. No one asks for autographs
All right,
anymore.
a
They ask for
selfie.
selfies.
Oh, don't you hate that?
Yeah, so here's what I've been trying to
Oh,
do. This is something I'm really working on because I was just at the airport on Friday and I was at LaGuardia and we got there very, very early. And my brother and I went to get food for everybody. And a woman came up to me and she didn't say hello. She just said, "Can I take your picture?" And I said, "We didn't even meet.
right.
You didn't even introduce yourself. What's your name?" And she said, "Oh," and I said, "And I'm just gonna share when you tell me your name, I'm gonna tell you no, but we're gonna have a conversation. And I guarantee you it's gonna be so much more meaningful than a picture that you took and ran away and it's gonna be
Oh, it's
lost."
so
Like,
exhausting.
so I said, "But I have to get food for my family first, Julie." And she said, "I'm over there with a bunch of Minnesotans." And I said, "Okay, I will be back." My brother and I got
Ay.
food, and then we came back and we talked to everybody at the table
Oh, my
from this
God.
Minnesotan crew that were just traveling from somewhere in Central Jersey for a training session. They were all in finance or
But
they.
how horrible. It's like you're a school teacher teaching everyone how to behave. I
But
mean, it's like,
here's the
it's
thing.
fucking annoying, yeah.
I kind of prefer it to somebody walking up to me with the camera already ready, asking as they're clicking. I always am like startled by it. And I tell you, I much prefer to have a conversation for someone to come up to me and say, "Maybe this isn't your best time. My name is Veronica and I'm just here and I'm excited to see you. Would you have a moment to take a picture?" And what I'll say is, "Oh my God, Veronica, where are you from? What are you doing here? What's your dream? Well, oh,
Wow.
you're working in this or you're doing that? Oh my gosh, thank you. I can't take a picture right now because I'm with my family and I told them I would be a mom this week. But I love meeting you. I hope you have a great time. Oh, go to this restaurant." And then we're going to have a thing. And if I
Yeah,
ran
but
into
you're
her
working
again,
so hard. You're working so hard to be
I don't know
nice to
why I
these.
prefer it to a picture.
I'm
Am I
so
mad? Is that
fucking
crazy?
yes. No, you're not crazy at all. For me, it's a different issue. You're good looking. My issue is I say to people point blank, I go, "Listen, genius, I'd love to take a picture with you if I was George Clooney. I look like shit, and I don't need another bad picture of me running around because I see these pictures everywhere, and I look like a monster. And
That's
I
not
don't want you
true.
running around with my picture, and I'm honest about it, but it's exhausting."
You know what I
Now,
used to say?
what did you used to say?
Well, a couple different things. One of them, I did this for a really, really, really long time, and it worked forever. One thing I used to say was, "I can't because of the," and I'd go like this, "because of the government."
Right, the
And it really
government.
confused people. They were so confused. And I
So
want
you
to say
made
this
yourself
is
to be
few,
loony.
this is few
Yeah,
different administrations. So it wasn't political. Now,
right.
another one that I learned that Matthew told me he heard from a big star. Someone would ask for a picture and he would say, "They won't."
Oh,
And
like, but yeah, like that's just
they won't,
absurd.
they can't, something like that. And so I tried that. And I'm going to tell you this really quickly because you're probably running out of time and want to be rid of me. But my
No.
husband and I had just landed in Stockholm and we were so excited. And the kids were old enough. And we said, "See that bridge? We're going to walk over the bridge. Are you guys okay here from it? We're just going to walk into old Stockholm." And we walked across the bridge and I was like, "Look at this. Look at, no one's got their phones out. It's old and it's all elegance. It's all, you know, good evening, good afternoon. No one's here." And we walked past a restaurant and I saw a thing in my peripheral and I was like, I know that movement. I could feel that movement. And sure enough, this woman comes running after us. She says, "Sarah, Sarah." It's a New Yorker.
Ah.
Can I, she goes, "Can I take a picture with you?" And I said, "They won't." And she goes,
Uh-huh.
"Who's they?"
Yeah, she had to question you.
Who's they? And I can't tell you, tears were streaming. I was laughing so hard because for so long it had worked. They won't. But now I
Doesn't
just
work. Yeah,
try to
and now you're.
have a conversation. Now I'm just in a dialogue.
My wife was fascinated by this. So she tells me about you that you have saved and archived every single outfit that you've worn, certainly during Sex in the City, and maybe even in some films.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got these clothes somewhere where they're completely stored and maintained and all of this.
Temperature
And
controlled.
and in full candor, I said to my wife, well, why the fuck would somebody do that? And she goes, are you kidding? She goes, I do anything to see those outfits and touch them. You know, my wife loves clothes and all this stuff. I said, really? So you're telling me that this was genius, that Sarah saved every single outfit from Sex and the City? She goes, oh, yeah, it's
That's
a big
nice.
deal. What was going on here? And what do you spend in a month in storage on this stuff? Is it a...
So I'll tell you very quickly that when I was a much younger actor, and I've had an attorney now for 37 years, and one of the things he said to me when he first started negotiating contracts with me, no perks, no this, no that. I didn't need candles and flowers in my dressing room, or the M&Ms this color and that color.
Brown M&Ms.
He just said, just have it in your contract that you keep every single thing you wear. Have it in your contract across the board. And some studios balk at that, and it's a real negotiation. And some of the older studios really want to have it for their archive, and they make a really good argument. But so when it came time to do Sex and the City, it was in my contract, and I have every single thing. And I don't have the stuff that was borrowed from design houses, or that was maybe borrowed from a vintage consignment place. And oftentimes, if we borrowed from a designer, they would say at that point, oh, just keep it. It's better for you to have it as part of the piece of this episode. And so I have it all. And I
What are
think
you going to do with it?
that's a really good question. Well, we use it every year on the show. We keep bringing it back, and we did on the show originally. So you'll keep changing the closet. You wear some of it again, some stuff from 10 years, 15 years ago, and it's really nice for the audience. They like to see those pieces. Sometimes it's just hanging for no good reason over a door, a dress from season 4 of Sex and the City. So it has a role to play as well that's really important. Like, all of it's pulled out at the top of every single season by the set designers and set deck, and Molly and Danny and me and Michael Patrick. I don't know how much it costs, but my guess is that it's probably worth it because it's valuable. It's been really helpful. And also we loan it out, and I don't know what its
Really?
life will be beyond me, but it's been really wonderful to have it. And designers will call on pieces and say, can we borrow that for this? We need it for this reason, vis-a-vis some kind of story they're doing, I don't know, on their history. So it's great to have. Yeah.
Wow, man.
All the shoes,
That
all
was
the
smart.
bags, all the jewelry.
I know. I should have saved that fart man costume from my movie.
You don't
I was
have it?
stupid. No, I saw somebody was selling it, and I was like,
What?
"Oh yeah, I should have gotten my fart man costume." Yeah, absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. If you would talk to me once in a while, I would have known that.
I'm surprised that no one forced it upon you when you left.
No, somebody actually wanted it. That hat you wear in the first episode, that crazy hat when you're walking through, I think you're walking through Central Park or something.
Yeah, we're walking through Washington Square Park. Yeah.
That's like what you wear in a pizza shop or something, like a big giant hat. And I went, you know what? Here's the crazy thing about fashion. Sarah's wearing that, and I think that's a crazy fucking thing. And then I'm watching you, and I go, you know what? Every woman's going to be wearing that in a year. You'll see.
Well,
It's the way it goes. That's fashion.
that's an amazing milliner from Berlin. And I saw that hat, and I was bound and determined to find some way to wear it. I just was like, of course
You
you
did
would.
it.
It's so ridiculous and whimsical and beautiful. If you could see it in person, I think you would be as seduced. It's so beautifully made. And
Yeah.
it weighed nothing. It weighed nothing.
By the end of the episode, I loved it. I was like, you know what? I might
We
buy one
beat
of
you
those
down.
hats.
We've
You
worn you
beat me down.
down. Your eyes have
No.
adapted to absurdity.
No, I love your show. I do. I really
you,
do.
Howard.
And you're the best.
Thank you.
Sarah
So happy
Jessica
to see
Parker.
you.
I'm
Please
happy
send
to
love
see
to
you
Beth.
too. I will. And by the way, here's a little known fact before you leave. And I'm fascinated by this too. You're a fascinating woman. Sarah reads, on average, 2 books a day.
A day?
Now-
Right
A day.
now, I am for the Booker.
Right. She's part of like a book contest or something where it's like beyond even what Oprah does, if you know what I mean. Like Oprah's got the once a month she reads a book. Sarah reads 2 books a day. Do you speed read? What is going? How do you?
So
first
this
of all,
is a
you're a
very-
mother. You're a wife. You're an actress. You got a series. How do you carve out 2 books? Are these thin books? What
So
are these
no,
books?
no, one I'm reading now is 600 pages. This is a finite period of time. For any of your listeners, some might know there's a literary award that some might argue is the most important literary award in the world. It's called the Booker. It used to be called the
Okay.
Booker Man Award, and it's out of the UK. And there are 5 judges. There's a chairman and 4 judges, and you spend from late December until they announce the winner reading books. And we will probably read, and the numbers have fluctuated. So I've said anywhere from 200 books to 170, and now it looks like it's going to be closer to about 150 plus. We started reading December 23rd. We'll owe the long list. We come together as a group and we deliberate in London. The long list will be out in August. From that long list, we create the short list. That's announced, I believe, in September, and the winner is announced in November. So I'm only reading 2 books a day because of this particular volume of books that we have to read in order to come and deliberate as a group once a month.
I am fascinated by this. First of all, if there was a version of hell for me, this would be it. Like this would where they'd send me for being bad. 2 books a day. The one you're reading now is 6. Now, what do you do if you're the judge, which is a great honor?
Yes, it is.
If
Greatest honor
you're
of my life.
But if you're the judge, and let's say the book you're reading now, this 600-page opus, let's say you get 100 pages in, you go, this is shit. I'm wasting my life. You mean you as a judge will sit there and read all 600 pages, to be fair?
So I think there is different approaches to this work. Some people get to the point, once you've established the first deliberation, what is the standard, the gold standard? Things are typically weighed against what you feel is the best. So it's very possible you won't finish books because they're not meeting the 4 and 3 months standards that you've created of the previous 80 or 90 or 100 books. So it becomes more clear the more you read what's holding up, what's pushing other books out of the way, what's not going to have the competitive edge. So not everybody will finish every single book, because if you get to page 60 or 80 and it's not meeting criteria, it's very possible you'll put it down in favor of starting another book in hopes of that being perhaps more promising. But I never open a book without, I'm all hope, every single book. And I have to say, as hard as it is and as challenging, it is honestly, Howard, this is privilege of a lifetime. I have been following the Booker Award for so long. I never imagined being asked to judge. So I am taking it seriously, because I will never do it again. No one could do this twice. You give up a year of your life.
Oh my God. Do you realize
Yes, Robin, it's all fiction, and it all is the Booker. The International Booker was just announced a couple weeks ago, or more or less, and that's translations. This is all written in English, all in North America, UK, so that can be any book from our country.
I got a lot of questions.
Okay.
First
I have a book with me today in the green room.
Do you realize the power you have? Do publishers ever try to contact you? Not, seriously, have they? Because they have.
I get books all the time from publishers. It's a thrill.
Yeah, but this contest is a big deal. If a book becomes the book,
Right.
This is and there's only 5 of you who are reading.
Correct. So there is a process by which this happens. That's a well-established routine between the publishers and the Booker Committee and the Booker administration. So each publisher is allowed to submit one book. One book. Now, if you've been on the long list, you get 2 books. If you've been on the short list or won the Booker, you get 3. But each publisher is capped at 3 books total, depending upon their exposure to these lists, right? Long, short, and winning. So there is no route to any of us that doesn't go through the Booker Committee. I can get books all day long from publishers unsolicited, but those are not the books that I'm reading for the Booker. They might overlap.
Do you take your responsibilities so seriously that, let's face it, you could wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You could have an argument with your husband. You could have an argument with the kid. You really have a great responsibility here to the authors.
Yes.
Do you worry, who knows? You're reading a book today, maybe you're aggravated and the book just rubs you the wrong way.
You know what's interesting about that is that the book kind of removes all of the peripheral stuff. It's different than any reading I've ever done. It's so concentrated that everything else, I mean this sincerely, goes away. Because for the very reason you said, it's so important to take each book seriously and to give it the time and attention
Yes.
that it deserves. Some of these books took 10 years to write. Some of these books were spent in total solitude for the last 2 decades for this author to get this book in the hands of people who are going to have an opinion about it. So you have to give every single book your undivided attention. And the minute you understand the task, it's really, that part is
Daunting.
easy. It's the whole thing is daunting, especially theoretic. Like the whole thing is like almost overwhelming to the degree that I felt like I can't possibly do this. I don't know how to do right by all this work.
How did they know about you? Like, in other words, I would assume most of the people who read these books are either college professor types or
They're academics
literary
and
people.
publishers, and
Are you the first big celebrity to be one of the bookers, like to sit there and read these books?
I don't think so. I think there have been other actors, I can't say for sure, but with me on the committee are writers and Booker long-listed writers and Booker winners.
Do you get
and
in touch with the other book readers? Do you guys have any discussion amongst you, or is it all done individually?
It's done individually. We're all separated. We meet once a month. Sometimes
Oh.
there's overlap on emails. We met in London originally in February for our first meeting. Our last two have been on, our other monthlies have been on Zoom. We'll be back together in July for the long list. We talk, we send emails,
Jeez.
but they're usually, I don't know, I guess there's been actors. I think the way they found out about me is that I follow them on Instagram, and I'm always waiting for the long list and have been forever for both the international and as well the Booker. So I'm always waiting to see what books are going to make it to the long list, because usually I've read a lot of them or I want to. And then I follow along. So I was always commenting on their Instagram.
What is your IQ? Have you ever had your IQ tested?
No, I'm sure I test very low. I'm sure my IQ is very not impressive. That would be my
I bet
guess.
you it is. I bet
I
it's
tested
impressive.
very poorly in school, very poorly.
Did you take the SATs, or you didn't even bother with that because you were already acting?
I only took the PSATs, and then after that, I kind of was absent from school. But my guess is I think I did really poorly on my PSATs. I think I
Really?
did very poorly. I'm very nervous taking tests. I feel like I'm going to vomit the whole time, and I forget everything that I ever knew. I would test as if I'd never been really exposed to classroom or learning. I'm sure big disappointment for my parents.
No,
just
I mean, that would
didn't
just
test
seem
well.
that you're
Did you-
doing all
do
this
you-
reading.
Did you test well?
I
in
tested on
school?
the idiot level. I think they saw me as dull. I think that was the classification.
The
Dull.
idiot.
Yeah, I mean,
I
so
was
you're-
in
so-
remedial math too. I was put in remedial math with all the football players. It was
Wow.
incredibly embarrassing, but
you might be worse than me. I mean, I did manage
Can't
to get
beat
100.
that.
I did get 100 on the algebra region, so maybe
Oh,
maybe I'm not that
wow.
bad. That was my big claim to fame. Wait a second. So you're so most of your day, if I was married to you, you'd be like, listen, Howard, we're not having sex today. I have to read. This is I rarely
everybody
get a
in my
hold of
house
you.
knows about it. They said they walk by and they hear a funny sound where I'm reading, and it's my finger on the page moving.
Do you ever listen to books? I've been doing a
I
lot of
can't
that
do
lately.
it for that. For this job, I can't.
For this job.
I listened to Barbara Streisand.
What'd you think of that book?
That was amazing.
I love that book.
That was incredible. It was the only audiobook I've ever heard in my life. It's the only one I now ever want to hear in my life. That
Fantastic.
book was, your interview with her was great.
I don't know
Did
if
we
we talked about
communicate
that, but
about that? Before I go, I want to just ask you two things. The first is, the rumor is here that you have moved on from painting to the guitar, which is, I
Yes.
see guitars behind you. Are those the ones that you're working on mastering?
yes, I am no longer painting. I don't paint at all.
Wow.
I love playing the guitar. I suck.
Wow.
I'm terrible, but I
That's
want to learn
okay.
the language. I want to learn the
Great.
language. Yeah,
So
I love it.
what? That's my first question: is what happened? Why?
It just dawned on me all of a sudden that, oh my God, I have all these guitars and I'm fascinated by musicians. I read mostly books about musicians
Yeah.
and their life story.
Right.
And I just finished Mike Campbell from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, fabulous book. I said, I really would love to learn this language before I drop dead. I would like to be able to communicate like a musician.
Right.
But I don't have time to paint, although I
do
painted
both.
something the other day. But yeah, I
Oh.
don't have time to do both. Whatever free time I have, I grab the guitar.
And are you doing it with a teacher? Did you reach out and find like
Teacher.
the best possible? How did you find that person? Did you ask a million musicians? Who would you
My
recommend?
wife did. My
Really?
wife, I said to my wife for months, maybe even a year, I wish I could learn to play the guitar.
Oh.
And she said to me, my birthday came, and she said, I got you a guitar lesson. I said, oh my, I went into a panic. I
Yeah.
was so intimidated. Can
Yeah.
you imagine?
It's scary
my
learning
age,
something
trying-
new at our age.
humbling and scary.
Yeah.
And she got in touch with Billy Joel and more importantly, Billy Joel's wife. And they had a guy in their band who recommended his nephew to teach me, who is the greatest guy in the world.
How great.
And he's patient with me. And he walks in the first day and he says to me, here's a book. You're going to learn how to read music. I said, no, I'm not. How could I dots on a page? I can't do it. You'll do it.
Yep.
And a little bit every day.
Yep.
Now I can read music.
And how
And I
far
sit there.
along are you, and how often are you up? Do you have a standing date for the lessons?
We take a lesson maybe once, we do it together maybe 2 times a week,
That's great.
sometimes 3 if I'm off the radio.
Right.
And I try to learn as much as I can, but I'm a really beginner.
That's
You know what
okay.
I mean?
But
Yeah.
just the fact that you can say, like, I thought I couldn't learn to read music, and I learned to read music.
Yes.
It just shows you when you're interested and you're like, you want to. So it's such a huge part, don't you think, of making it easier and better? Like, you feel much more conversant than you ever thought you could, right?
See, that's how I feel you are with the books. If I have 10 minutes free, I grab the guitar and
Yeah.
practice something.
That's what I did.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
What book are you reading now?
I can't say
Oh, why?
because it's one of the books of the Booker. So I feel like I shouldn't say because but it's
I mean,
really good.
the author doesn't know he's been selected. Oh,
He, she, or they. No.
he, she, or they.
Can I ask you one more quick question? I know
Yeah.
I'm overstaying my welcome.
No,
But,
this is fun.
You could never do that.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Robin. See how you feel when I leave. How
I feel good.
I was so upset and concerned when I heard the news about Billy Joel. Was it 10 days ago? And my mother, of all people, keeps telling me, no, I really think that, according to the Times, however they chose to share that diagnosis, and it just really upset me. Like and of all the crazy things, my husband was about to go see him in concert and asked me to go. And I was like, I will carve out time for my reading to be at that freaking concert last Wednesday, I believe. I know you talked to him. I just wanted to see how you were doing. And also if you could just communicate to him that he's really on my mind. Like, it really has bothered me, and I really hope he's okay.
Well, first of all, and I've said this before, and I feel, listen, I'm certainly not Billy Joel's spokesperson.
No, I know you're not, but you're the closest
yeah.
I'm going to get.
In all seriousness, I had dinner with him after this story came, or right when the story came out.
Okay.
And we had dinner, and he was like, oh, this is just so weird because people think I'm like dying or something. Billy is not dying.
Great.
We had a great dinner together.
Okay, good.
We email each other. He just emailed me a whole bunch of classical music to listen to. He turned me on to this woman who plays classical guitar. She's mind-blowing. But in the best way possible, I should stress that he is not in some dire situation.
Great.
He's just dealing with his health, and
Great.
he's doing fine. He's okay. But
Great.
Again, I feel funny talking for
No,
him, but
I
I know
don't
you're a
mean for
huge
you
fan.
I didn't mean for you to be indiscreet or share anything. I just, when you only know that, and it's put in such stark terms, and I'm sure the Times
We went
was
out to dinner.
thoughtful. Perfect. I'm glad to know that because I really want to see him on stage again, like as often and as much as I can. So I'm glad to hear that he's doing well, and send him my warmest regards, please.
By the way, when we went out to dinner, I was thank God for this. Guy comes up to the table, and he asked for my autograph, and I was like, he didn't. But then I realized once he realized it was Billy sitting at the table, then he was all over Billy. So, but it made me feel good because I'm like, I don't want to be sitting at this table in front of my wife and Billy's wife, and like just be ignored. It would just crush me. I'm really concerned what other people think. I really am. But anyway, listen.
That sounds healthy.
It's really a miserable life.
No, it's not. I just know that's not true. That's not
Never go to dinner with me because I'll be sitting there the whole time watching you sign autographs, being miserable.
That's not true.
Yeah. If you go to dinner with me, wear a mask, okay?
Okay.
I mean,
don't bring
I've
a
had it
pen
with
and we'll
you.
get in that time machine where people ask for your autograph.
I've never gone out to dinner with you, but do me a favor. Let's
Wear a
skip it. I think
Let's
it'll be a
not,
miserable
right?
experience. Yeah, it'll be terrible. I just know you're so famous and you're on TV all the time. It'll be a disaster. By the way, I'm going to mention, too, her love of books goes beyond this award that she's now a judge in. But she co-produced a documentary called The Librarians that is about book banning.
Mm-hmm.
There are no more librarians. You must be heartbroken over libraries. You love it.
I know. I am. It's a topic for another day. But it's not a topic for another day.
Right.
It's acute and urgent right now. Everybody do all you can to support your local libraries. Make sure you're in touch with your local elected officials who are making decisions about funding. We're having that problem in New York City, and on a larger scale, federal government cuts to the American Library Association. Obviously, what's happening in our libraries and naval bases, in our local schools, our local communities, it's a very serious concern, and we should all be paying attention because libraries are beacons in neighborhoods and communities for countless reasons that are invaluable. And the loss of them would be immeasurable.
Just because I haven't been in a library in 100 years doesn't mean we shouldn't have them.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is your real message.
Yeah.
Everything's about me. Listen, Sarah Jessica, what did we learn today? First of all, we learned you're delightful. Everyone knows
Thank
it.
you, Howard. Thank you.
You're delightful.
As are you. Thank you so much. As are you,
It's
Robin.
wild. We love your new show. You know we
Thank
love it.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I love it. In fact, sometimes I feel, who am I that I love it so much?
Makes you
I mean,
question yourself.
I mean, am I going to buy a house next to you like Andy Cohen did and just live next to you and worship you? I don't know. But I love it. I love the outfits. I love the acting. I love the storylines.
you.
I love I loved Rosie O'Donnell as a lesbian.
Well, I
That
heard
was
she
the
was
best.
fantastic. She was so good in the table read. I
Yeah.
was like, wow.
And she looks good.
Yeah.
And tell your co-star, for me,
Yes.
buy some lube. If you're that dry down there,
Oh my God.
don't spit in your hand. It was
This is
hideous.
how we're going to
You
end
know
things.
what?
Well,
I
it's
thought
full
that
circle.
bring
was
it
a
full
porn
circle.
move. I thought that was a
Po-
porn
yeah, it was
move
like
when he
porn.
did it.
Poor
Yeah.
Sarah.
I was like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Oh.
I
Food for
don't like
thought.
when people lick their hands and then they touch their private parts. I'm sorry, I don't do that.
Like, what is he doing?
Oh my God. Isn't
Talk
it
to me.
funny that
Weird acting
at
choice.
8 o'clock, 8 a.m., this is how our entire conversation started. And really, what is the most interesting thing for us to arrive back at is
Big makeout scene too in episode 3 between you and Aiden.
Really?
Let's face it. Well, yeah, quite a passionate kiss.
oh, that's nice.
You know?
Yeah.
And we also learned Sarah will not take a selfie with you, but she'll talk to you for a few hours, which is exhausting.
And listen, I'm always happy to be asked about the selfie. It's not that I'm so glib and ruined and cynical.
Right. No, we understand.
I just
Me,
would prefer to say hello first.
and I prefer nobody bother me unless I'm, unless my wife's there and I want to show her that I'm famous. All right, you've done it again, Sarah. You're delightful, and that's what everyone's going to take away from this, and that's most important. And the next time you come in, we'll talk about your obsession with mahjong.
Oh, yes.
Really?
Jesus.
Yes, we will.
What is going on?
That's been
Maybe
like
you should
for
start.
well over a
Maybe you should
decade.
start getting high. Maybe it's time. And we also learned that you're about to hop on the subway to get back home. So,
No, you
good
guys
luck.
sent a car driver.
We did?
Yeah.
We've never done that before. Wow.
We must feel bad for you. We don't do that.
Could you keep quiet
Or
about
maybe
that?
HBO paid for it.
Maybe HBO. There's no way we paid for it.
Oh, okay.
we don't have that kind of budget.
I
By
stand
the way, that's
corrected.
a nice watch you're wearing. What is that?
Oh, it's my husband's. I bought it for him. It was a Christmas gift. It's a fancy Cartier watch that I bought for him, but he lets me borrow it.
Oh, he's a lucky man. I'd love to see you wearing my watch. Fantastic.
You've got a woman who will wear your watch, I'm sure.
Is he the love of your life, your husband? Is he?
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the one.
Still?
Yeah. We're together
And by the way-
33 years now.
33
Wow.
years. And this is a woman who has dated some of the best looking men in America. So Matthew must be very, very proud of that fact.
Maybe.
Do you ever say to him when you're fighting, do you ever say, I could have been with this one or that one? Do you ever say it?
No.
You know,
I'm too thrown. He's too good his sword play is very
he's a good
throws you off your
arguer.
game. Throws you
Really?
off your game. Yeah, he's really wicked smart. So in our
Yeah.
disagreements, I feel not equipped to come up with one-liners. There's that thing called esprit d'escalier, and it means like the spirit of the staircase, like all the things you wish you could have said as you're
Right.
walking down the staircase after something. But typically, generally speaking, we get along really, really well.
Wow, remind me not to argue with him. I
really
lose
do.
every argument.
Is it good to work with him? Because sometimes you guys work together.
Yeah,
Was
we
that
not-
good
They worked
on
in London.
Broadway?
We
Yeah.
worked
Yeah.
on Broadway and in London together. And we'd never worked together, not really. We did How to Succeed, but it was short and we didn't create it together. It was honestly one of the greatest experiences of my entire life. It was so.
He's good
we
to
were
act with.
so happy. Yeah, and we were alone together a lot because there's only 2 of us. The cast is small. There's 3 other actors, but they're not on stage for most of it. And we were living together in London and Boston, and it was an enormously happy, hard, but deeply satisfying time.
Your husband had an opportunity to work with you on Sex and the City. They offered him the role of the premature ejaculator,
Yes.
and he did not do it.
He wisely said no.
He wisely said no, but he would have been a terrific premature ejaculator because the man's a good actor, right? He would have been great.
Yeah, it was full court press. Like Michael called him himself. I remember those days of like that kind of flip phone, the StarTAC phone.
Yeah.
He really pleaded the case before the court, and Matthew was like, absolutely not. Wisely. Yeah.
I look at some of those old episodes. You know, Bradley Cooper, with his first TV appearance was on Sex and the City.
Yes.
He played sort of a potential love interest of yours.
Yes.
John Bon Jovi was in
Yes.
Sex and the City with you.
Yes. Justin Theroux a couple times, different
Justin
parts.
Theroux, Matthew
Um,
McConaughey,
Yes. Forgot about
and
that.
Alanis. You made out with Alanis.
Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes. I don't think I
Yes.
was in that scene, but yes.
No,
Yes.
but she was in Sex and the City. All right, listen, I'll let you get at it. This is a big day. What a time we've had. We really have gotten
Haven't
close.
we?
Yes.
Well, I'll
We
see you
did it
this
all.
summer.
And you want to know something? Andy Cohen is probably so jealous right now because I'm here with you.
And
Ignore him.
I can't stop by his show. Not today.
No, don't. No,
Oh.
there's no time. Good. Thank you. I'm so sick of Andy. Yeah, I'm friends with Sarah Jessica. Yeah, we go everywhere together. She's my friend. Oh, I've been in Sex and the City. I played a shoe salesman. Who cares? Good for you. Don't go to his show.
It's
You're
not
banned
it's
from
not
there.
purposeful that I'm not, but I'm not
No.
able today.
Yeah, of course you're not.
I'll be back later in the summer to the
Yeah, maybe
Sirius,
I'll run into
Sirius
you this
Tower
summer.
in Midtown. Yeah, I'll
I
run
run into you once in a while. I run into you once in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
We
be
have a
running
good
into
time.
one another.
We had a good time last time we saw each other.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought so.
Yep. Yeah, we talked. I don't talk to anybody, so it was kind of fun. I felt like a human being.
And I talked
All
to
right.
Beth.
You talked to Beth. Thank you for that, by the way.
I love
Thrilled.
Beth.
Everyone's thrilled to talk to you.
Oh,
They love it.
you're nice.
She didn't ask you for a picture. I know that. All right, listen, you've done it again. Got another great season ahead of you, and you're reading the books. You better go read right now.
I'm going to.
Run. Yeah.
I'm going to read the entire way downtown.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think it's great. I think it's great that you're reading.
Thank you.
If I was married to you, I would practice my guitar while you read on the couch.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Yeah, I think it would be romantic.
Yes. Sometimes Matthew reads when I'm reading.
And you could listen to my metronome going beep, 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 beep. You have no idea, my poor wife. I go, honey, can you hear me playing the guitar? She goes, no, but I hear that fucking metronome. All right, Sarah, thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Howard.
not going to Andy's show.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate that a
much.
lot. That really made my day. Thank you.
I did the show just so I could say that.
You know, by the way, I see you. Sometimes you're shooting a scene for your TV show, and there were people lined up on the street watching you. Is that crazy? I mean, I saw like you were shooting outside of Tiffany's, and there was like thousands of people just congregating, watching you acting in front
It's
of
so
Tiffany's.
nice. I have to
It's
say,
nice?
it's always been kind of sentimental that happens. It's
You like it?
we love it. It's
All right.
so touching, and those are the people that have been watching all these years, and those
It's
are the
true.
people that will come up and say hello, and I will learn their names, and I look forward to that.
Sarah, you've done it again. See Sarah Jessica Parker in And Just Like That. It's a terrific show. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Howard.